Welcome to the Easy Computer Fixes channel, and today we're going to talk about Internet Explorer 11 that's being rolled out to all Windows 7 users. So most of you probably have it already. Some of you might not have it yet, but with updates you will of course get this Internet Explorer 11. It started rolling out about a month ago, or a little less than a month ago, and I wanted to really test it out before I do any reviews or talk about it. So two sets of videos are coming up, or two videos. This one is the review of the Internet Explorer 11 browser, and the other video will be comparing the latest Internet Explorer 11 with Google Chrome's latest version and Firefox's latest version for Windows 7. So Internet Explorer 11 came out on Windows 7 a little later than it did on Windows 8. Actually, Internet Explorer 11, and that's the kind of the weird part, is that version is available on Windows 7 and on Windows 8.1, but if you're on Windows 8 you can't have Explorer 11. So it's that weird way of Microsoft doing stuff. So Internet Explorer 11 was an easy install. I didn't have any problems. I never really have problems, or rarely, with Internet Explorer on my computer, so in my case the upgrade went well, and navigating went well also. There's a difference that I've noticed with Internet Explorer 11 on Windows 7 and Windows 8.1. I have both here. On Windows 8.1, for some reason, Explorer 11 froze on YouTube quite often, and it seems to be a very common problem because I had a lot of comments about people telling me that they also had that problem. But Explorer 11 on Windows 7, in my case, didn't freeze at all. It doesn't seem to be exactly the same, or I don't know if it's the hardware or the fact that the version of Windows is different, but I didn't have any problems of freeze up in IE 11 and YouTube on Windows 7 computers. So installation went well. Everything went quite good. It's available in 36 different languages, so if you're looking for a version of IE 11 for your machine, lots and lots of versions available. Browser really requires minimal system requirements, 512 meg RAM, and it takes about 75 megabytes of hard drive space. Once you've installed it, IE 11 requires to reboot your machine. What do you notice when you reboot the machine? Well, nothing. If you're on IE 9 or IE 10, you'll go to IE 11, you'll look at your browser and say, well, I don't see any differences. The interface itself is pretty much the same. So this is difficult to see. One little key difference that you can see here on the top, I've got some tabs that are open. On IE 9 and IE 10, a lot of the tabs would actually open underneath the address bar, while on IE 11 they've placed the tabs on the top, which makes a little more viewing space for your web pages. The IE interface also has its same three little icons that are the home, favorites, and the tools icons on the upper right of your screen. So these are still there at the same pace. If you had a upgrade to IE9 and IE10 without changing anything, one thing that you might have lost is the actual menu bar that I have here with file, file, edit, view, and so on. And I've actually replaced that bar back because I find the menu bar to be extremely useful. So that's kind of interesting. The address bar is also an integrated search bar, and by default it's actually using Bing, which I find to be kind of a horrible search engine. So I've actually put my homepage as Google because I just can't. But you can change if you want that search for another type of search engine if you want by going into the options. So what are the new options? What's changed in IE11 compared to IE10, for example? Well, first of all, it's a much more standard browser. It really integrates a lot of web standards that weren't really there in IE10 and IE9, which makes it probably one of the closest browsers that have the regular and official standards that the internet has. Your tabs are on the upper side, and they are draggable, so you can actually take one tab and drag it on your screen like I've just done here, which will make a new page open up. For example, these are little implementations that are interesting about the tabs on the computer. Another great little feature is that you can take a tab, put it on the right side of your screen if you drag it, and it actually opens the tab in a window that takes half of your screen, so you don't block all of the screen for what's available on that window. That's an interesting feature because it actually helps you see 2 or 3 different tabs or pages at the same time, which enables you, if you're working with your computer, for example, to actually read something while you look at another page or take note, or maybe you're writing an email in the other page. So you can actually take, for example, an email, go to your Gmail or Hotmail, Outlook.com page, drag it there, have the portion for writing your email, but still have the rest of the screen viewable for the content. There's more importance in IE11 to the pages that you actually visit, which means that every time you visit a page regularly, you'll now have these pages actually show up much easily and very rapidly if you do some searching or typing in the address bar at the top of the screen. So these are all little features that are making browsing a little better. So the address bar is the search bar. It's called the One Box. This is the name they give officially to that box. But adds more privacy compared to, for example, Google Chrome by letting you turn on and off the auto suggest feature of your search engine at will, which is not often, it's not offered actually on Chrome, for example. Here, if you want, you can actually remove the autofill feature, which means that when you'll go into the search, there's not going to be any pop-up of your previous searches, which can be interesting. Sometimes you don't want everyone to see what you've been searching for. IE 11 supports a unique feature that was introduced in IE 8, that was accelerators, and I basically never really used them. Don't find that they're extremely interesting. And an early web proponent, eBay now emphasizes another IE feature extension, and Internet Explorer has add-on capability, just like Firefox and every other browser of these days. So it's easier to put add-ons on IE 11 than it was before. People using Firefox are really used to using add-ons. They're easy to actually implement in Firefox, and a lot of you out there are actually using these add-ons because they add features that are unavailable on the primary Firefox. Well, IE 11 now supports an easy way to actually have these features enabled. Another cool feature is that if you're using Outlook accounts between your computers, the features, the favorites, the way you actually organize your IE 11 experience is synced with other computers. That's another great little feature here that's interesting. Performance wise, you'll see it in the test that I did. This is a very fast browser. If you go on the web and search for pages, you are actually really going on the web at a really major speed. I've actually clicked and went through a lot of different pages actually, and I'm amazed at the speed of the Internet Explorer 11. It is, I would say, pretty much par with IE 10. I don't see really an improvement between IE 10 and IE 11, but in the test that I've made and that you'll see in a separate video, it is on par with Google Chrome for navigation. It is faster than Firefox, so that's something worth noting. Firefox is getting really the slower browser experience now. I think Firefox needs to be really rewritten in some way so that it actually gets better, because it's really getting a little long for loading times, and also for pages that you search for or click on. They take longer to load on Firefox. Between Chrome and IE 11, it's pretty much the same. They're almost at the same speed. I detected some slight differences that are so small they're really not significant. Some pages load a little faster on IE 11, others load a little faster on Chrome. The overall load times are pretty much equal, so that's interesting for that. Like other browsers, IE 11 now prefetches web pages. That is, it loads the next page you're likely to visit into cache for a quick display. And that's why it gets a little faster. So for example, when you read the previous page of an article, there's a good chance that the browser will have loaded in memory. For example, if you're looking at an article or looking at a text that has multiple pages, it detects that it has multiple pages, and it actually preloads these pages for you, because it thinks that probably if you're reading page 1, you're probably going to read page 2 and 3 and so on, which is an interesting little feature here. The performance of IE 11 in JavaScript, which is a lot of web pages, and it's kind of a standard in testing the performance of pages, actually gives Internet Explorer a score that is better than average for a browser, slightly faster than IE 10, for example. Lots of new implementations of hardware accelerations in IE 11, including the usage of your GPU, your graphics processor, for processing different images and graphics, moving graphics on your screen when you're exploring the internet. So actually, this is very interesting. If you don't have IE 11 yet, well, the way to get it is going to Windows Update, and I've noticed on a lot of computers that I've seen that it's actually being rolled out to everyone. So if your automatic updates are there, this is going to come to your computer if it's not yet. For the standards and compatibility, Microsoft has finally conceded and included support for WebGL in this browser. They really didn't want to implement, and they were kind of the last browser not to implement such a standard. It's a 3D graphics language that has been there for quite a while, and all the other browsers actually had the WebGL standard, and the problem was that Microsoft wanted and thought that actually using HTML5 for 3D graphics was the best thing to do. So that's why they took a long time before they actually implemented WebGL. But now it is standard in IE 11. There are differences between IE 11 and Windows 7 and IE 11 and Windows 8.1. Some of the features that are announced on the Microsoft website, including SPDY replacement standard for HTTP that Google's trying to implement. Some HTML5 stuff. There's no WebRTC support. And SPDY, the Google standard, is only Windows 8.1 compatible on IE 11. So if you're on Windows 7, it's not there, which is kind of a little bummer here. The famous developer tool for when you press F12 for IE 11 has been modified, changed, and really if you are into development of web pages, for example, and stuff like that, they've revamped that option while you press F12 on your IE 11 experience. And this is interesting. As for security and privacy, well, Internet Explorer 11, you know, for a long time, IE was the bad boy of security, starting with IE 6, 7, 8. These were really problematic IE versions with security-wise. But they've got better on IE 9, IE 10, and there's a full version of security options that now are available inside of the browser. And actually, IE 11, according to the a study by AV Comparatives, IE now would be second to Opera in protecting users from phishing scam. They've checked IE11 against 294 phishing sites, and the results came up that IE11 blocks 82% of phishing scams, only 72% on Chrome, and 54% on Firefox. Firefox really has something wrong. It's not been a really good in actually, the browsing experience, the security features for the past few years, and it really needs to be, I think, rewritten from scratch to give us and come up to par with today's browsers. The privacy is where the new IE really shines, and on the first run there's going to be a checkbox for do not track. Do not track is set to on by default. And you can of course put exceptions to that do not track function. A lot of companies, a lot of websites have been extremely nervous about the do not track options of IE11. Do not track, what that means is that when you actually go to web pages, you've got basically tons of cookies and information that are left behind, so that every time you go back to the web page, it looks at, for example, all the sites you visited, the searches you made, and it will track you, know more about you, so that it can give you ads that have more chances of actually interest you. Because if you've been searching, for example, for golf courses, you like golf, and you've been searching for hotels, all of this is being tracked. And what happens is when you go back to web pages, they will serve you, when they have so, they'll serve you ads that have maybe some trips for golf playing and hotels in different regions. If you've been searching for, let's say you're searching for California, and you've been searching for golf, and you've been searching for hotels, don't be surprised that you might actually find on a page, a web page you're going to, hotels in California that are near golf courses, for example. So this is tracking, and every website uses tracking because they know that if the ads are more in the vicinity of the things that you like in your life, of course, you're going to maybe click on that ad because it looks interesting. The do not track in IE11 removes the tracking of where you've been and what you've been looking for. And so when you go to a web page, you'll still have the ads showing up. The thing is the ads are not going to be directed to your liking. So you might have random ads that are not necessarily what you like. Lots of talk about that on the web, about security of the tracking, and what websites actually use it for also. So IE11 really promoting the do not track options, and I think it's not that bad of a deal. Having ads is important because that's how web pages and websites get paid to give you what you want to see. But tracking people to put ads, I'm a little in favor of that do not track stuff in IE11 for that. So IE11 is a good browser. It's fast. It implements lots of new security features. And also is probably the most standard IE version of all. For the negative side, Well, some features available only on Windows 8.1 users. So if you're on IE 11 and Windows 7, there are some stuff that aren't available on your version of IE. And don't look at IE 11 for Vista. It won't happen. There's no way you're going to have IE 11. You're basically stuck at IE 10. And for Windows XP, forget it. IE has not been updated since IE 8 for XP, so there's no way. If you're using Windows XP, I suggest that you use Google Chrome or Firefox, the only two browsers that are still up to date on XP. So that's about it for IE 11. Hope you enjoyed the review and that you might try it. It's a very lean, very fast browser. If your computer's a little slow and you're kind of thinking, well, you know, I'm not sure that you know, my browsing experience is a little slow, or you're having some problems, why not try out IE 11? And hopefully it's going to work well for you and be one of the good browsers that you might be using. And don't forget, one of the cool features if you're using Outlook is the fact that between computers you will have now available a sync function that will make your browsing experience the same all over your computers. So thanks for watching. If you like our videos, subscribe to our channel. If you have any comments, questions on IE 11 or any other problems you might have with your computer, let us know. And of course, give us thumbs up if you like our videos, and hopefully you'll come back to the Easy Computer Fixes channel. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.